So a lemming that's running west into the sea, if you fish it out, you know, lemmings kill themselves in large numbers. Every now and then they just all sort of, when the population density of lemmings, they're these little, you know, mousy things. When it gets to a certain density, they all develop this compulsion to run west, and they just keep running when they get to the ocean, and they drown themselves in huge numbers, and nobody knows why. But if you fish out a lemming that's run into the sea and save it, it will not shoot itself. It will keep trying to run west, but it's not after the death experience. Whereas there are many people who have jumped off a bridge to kill themselves, survived the attempt, swum to shore, climbed the bridge again higher, and jumped to their deaths. The difference is that the lemming doesn't have the capacity to tell a story about a frightening or painful future that is actually more threatening than physical death. People kill themselves because they're afraid of the future, and the future doesn't exist except as a story in our minds. As Eckhart Tolle says, nobody ever, you will never do anything in the future. When you do it, you'll be doing it now. And you never did anything in the past. When you were doing it now. There is only now. And if you ask an eagle, what time is it? The eagle will say, it's now. That's what time it is. The ability to forecast, predict, abstract, think forward is this huge advantage for us. But what it does in combination with the reptile brain is that it takes lack and attack fears and creates lack and attack stories that then dominate our thinking even when we're perfectly safe. So we can be warm and dry in a soft bed, absolutely terrified of what's going to happen with our finances or our love relationships or our health, and none of it's real. It's all just a story in the mind. And a lizard sitting cozy and warm in bed would just be asleep, right? So every single one of your clients is going to come in suffering two kinds of pain. Okay? Pain is universal in human life. That's the first noble truth of Buddhism. There is suffering. Okay? And if you've been able to avoid that, please tell us. Let us know. You'll be the first in human history. So how we deal with suffering depends on, well, there are two forms of suffering that come from the mind. There's physical suffering, but then there's mental suffering, and it has two forms. One Stephen Hayes calls dirty pain, and one he calls clean pain. Clean pain is what therapists can heal. It's the trauma, it's the loss of a loved one, it's the grieving process, okay? If something was taken from you that you deeply loved, you would grieve, and that's clean pain. But dirty pain comes from thoughts about the event that actually are themselves painful. And the vast majority of human suffering comes from dirty pain. So if I walked up to Patricia, where'd Patricia go, and smacked her in the head, there you are, that would be clean pain. I'm not going to do it, I just don't have the energy. But suppose I smacked Patricia in the head, it would hurt. That would be clean pain. She may even have an understandable